Hello there, folks, and Happy New Year. It is officially 2025, it is the beginning of January, and with the beginning of January, that means we are at the end of December, which means that I'm finally done with my Pokécember challenge. And last speed paint, I promised I would have the video about my Pokécember art out on January 1st, but evidently that is untrue since I am recording this audio on January 2nd. So, even though it's a little late, I still hope you enjoy my Pokécember art. I have time lapses of all 31 illustrations. I'll go over my basic thoughts and process for pretty much the entire collection here. And my hope is that you'll enjoy seeing all these drawings come together, and I hope you enjoy them as a big match set. So, without further ado, let's see what I made for Pokécember 2024. I started off with Latios and Latias as my first drawings. I decided I would open with two shiny Pokemon, although with the way I did the lighting in this, you can actually hardly tell that Latios is shiny since it has a lot of nice blue shadows on top of it. Still, even though it's a little hard to tell that Latios is shiny, Latias is obvious enough. And I think these two as a set are just so cute. They're some of my favorite legendary Pokemon. I still associate them with Gen 2 instead of Gen 3 because of the movie, but I love them anyway. They are super cute. I had a lot of fun drawing the clouds behind them, and it was really fun getting into this process. Although I wouldn't do stuff quite as scenic and involved as I do in these first couple of drawings for the rest of the challenge, I still thought this was a strong way to open. Next up we have Carbink, and Carbink was a lot of fun too. This one, instead of having a duo, just has one Pokemon in a nice involved scene. I spent honestly way more time on the background on this piece than I did on the actual drawing of the Pokemon featured in it. And that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you spend very little time on a character and quite a bit of time on a scene. I still had a lot of fun with it. I'm excited to see what Carbink looks like in Legends EA whenever that comes out, so yeah, I'm pretty excited. Next up is Slurpuff, who is one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 6. It's another Gen 6 Pokemon, of course. I have actually been hunting for shiny Swirlix / Slurpuff since X and Y came out, and I still haven't found them. To be fair, it's been a bit of an on and off hunt. I haven't really been committing to it or sitting down for it, but yeah, it's been over 10 years and I still haven't found this shiny, so I'm really hoping that in the new game I'll be able to get it and at long last call this hunt, you know? I just want to be done with it. I've actually had the name in mind for my Slurpuff. Since I decided to do the hunt 10 years ago, I was going to name it Neapolitan since it seems to have a vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry look to it. And I just think that that is really darn cute. For my fourth illustration, I had to do my perennial fave, shiny Xatu. And Natu, of course. While Xatu and Natu kind of have underwhelming shinies, they're not like the most dramatic difference ever. It's still kind of fun to work with. They have an orange instead of a pink, and it's very evident in their sprites as opposed to their 3D models. And while it looks like in this drawing it's just very yellow lighting hitting regular Pokemon, I know they're shiny. I know that in my heart, and I know that that's true, so it was still a lot of fun. I did some little background elements of it to give it, I don't know, sort of a comic panel feel? I don't know how to describe it, but it was still a lot of fun. I tried to do something kind of painterly, something inspired by like Asian old aesthetics or like old magazine prints or something like that. I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting and I had fun with it. Next up we have Absol. This one's another more involved scene illustration. There is a regular Absol and a shiny one here, and they're standing on a mountain. This is sort of a redraw from something I drew, I don't know, when I was in high school around when I first got my drawing tablet. I drew a Absol on Mount Coronet, and that was a very long time ago. I remember I had fun drawing it, but I thought this would make for a fun spiritual successor. And I just like drawing Absol. It's a fun Pokemon. It's a classic. Everyone loves it for a reason. It's just a very nice, slick design. It's just fun to draw from all the shapes that it's got. So, I mean, it's a classic for a reason. Next up, we have a Pokemon that I guess would be less of a classic to most people. We got Heatmor, which is a Pokemon I've really come to appreciate in the past year or so. My girlfriend and I have been sending each other pictures of anteaters on Instagram, specifically Tamanduas, southern Tamanduas, and they are super cute. And Heatmor is an anteater, like, we know that. It's like the one thing that they keep telling us about it. And I think Heatmor honestly is a lot of fun. It's got so many fun little shapes that are interesting to draw. I decided I would draw a shiny one since it does have a really nice shiny. with a little baby one hiding behind very timidly. I thought it would be pretty cute. I have it doing that classic T-pose that Tamanduas do when they get defensive or are irritated, and I thought it would be kind of cute to see Heatmor doing it. Next up we have Heliolisk. Heliolisk has been majorly on my mind lately since it is part of my electric deck on Pokemon TCG Pocket I've been playing a lot of lately. I really only have like 2 pretty good decks for online play against other people, and it's my electric deck, which has Zapdos and Heliolisk and Zebstrika on it, and my grass deck, which I finally finished this week, which finally has a Celebi EX to go with my 2 superiors. And oh boy, those are a lot of fun. I'm not quite as good or competitive as some other people on the game, but it's still a lot of fun. I like looking at the art, and Heliolisk is such a classic. It gives me a good excuse to use it, you know? Next up we have Lugia. This pose is inspired by the Gen 4 sprite, specifically the Soul Silver and Heart Gold sprite for Lugia. And I decided to make it shiny because I thought it would be fun to draw Ho-Oh and Lugia as a shiny set. So there are actually 2 drawings that are consecutive in this challenge that are meant to go with each other. Maybe I'll make prints of them one day. If anyone's interested in that, please let me know. I really just had a lot of fun. Lugia is just a very nice, satisfying Pokemon to draw. It's very nostalgic for me, and I'm sure many other people. And it was just fun to draw it on a nice little ocean setting and really play with the colors and the lighting. That underlighting was really quite a lot of fun to do. Next up we have Ho-Oh, of course, the gold and silver shiny of all time, for sure. And I wanted to have it parallel and yet also be different from Lugia, so I have it in kind of what's implied to be more of a sunset than a sunrise, which was Lugia's. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun incorporating a lot more warm and pink tones, whereas Lugia's lighting was more yellow to kind of go with Ho-Oh. This one's a lot more pink to kind of go with Lugia, so it kind of ties the pieces together, even if they aren't exactly meant to line up. A good little set, you know? I just think they go well together, and they were a lot of fun to draw. Ho-Oh has so many freaking lines, so you can see in the time-lapse that I had a lot of fun with the feathers on its wings. They're very fun to draw. And honestly, I need to draw Ho-Oh more. It's honestly pretty fun to do. Next up, we have Kofagrigus, which is a pretty underrated shiny in my opinion. This thing is cool. This thing slaps. And honestly, the most fun I had on this drawing was the hands. I know it's very classic for artists to complain about drawing hands, but honestly, I really like doing them. I think they're a lot of fun, and with ghost-like hands like this, you can really get away with doing very funky stuff with the anatomy that you couldn't do with actual human hands. So, I had a lot of fun. Next up, we have Drampa and some Cutiefly. Drampa is a very special Pokemon to me. Not only is it super duper cute, very underrated honestly. It kind of reminds me of my old late dog Charlie because it's got big fluffy white fur, it looks like an old man. There's just a lot of stuff that reminds me of my old dog, and honestly, Drampa is just super cute. I'm honestly surprised I don't see more Drampa founds out there because this thing is just a very cute Pokemon, and I thought it would be good friends with all these cute little Cutiefly that I drew with it. I put it in this nice little flowery meadow scene since I thought that would be a nice serene place for all these guys to hang out together. I really tried to take like, I don't know, a Bob Ross-esque approach to the colors here. I can't think of how else to put it other than I was really having the mindset of a Bob Ross painting when I was coloring this. And I really had a lot of fun doing the background and the characters on this. I think they go together really well, and it was just a nice little tranquil scene to do. Next up is Gardevoir. Shiny Gardevoir has got to be one of my classic favorite shiny Pokemon. It was one of the first Pokemon I ever hunted in Oros using Dexnav chaining, and I just think it's a lot of fun. Last year for Pokécember, I actually drew a mega shiny Gardevoir, so this year I decided I would do a normal one. A lot of my challenges for this year's Pokécember were trying very hard not to repeat drawings I had simply done a year ago. I really wanted to draw some Pokemon that I either hadn't drawn before or hadn't drawn in a long time. So I didn't really want to do too many repeats. Like usually Flygon would be an easy shoo-in, but I didn't draw it for this year's Pokécember just because I already drew it a couple of times this year and I wanted to do something a little different for this video. Next up we have Torkoal, a Pokemon that I love, but surprisingly don't draw a lot. Torkoal, in my opinion, is one of the cutest Pokemon. I love its cute face, its little mouth, its little eyes that are closed. It's just so cute. I love how it's characterized. Ash's Torkoal anyway in the anime, that's kind of like a crybaby who's very sentimental. I just think that is so sweet. It's so cute. I think Torkoal's just a lovely little Pokemon. I had a lot of fun rendering these clouds in this piece, really making that smoke look quite different from the actual solid body of Torkoal. And it's kind of funny because I drew the outline of what the body looks like, but I ended up only outlining the clouds really since it covers up almost the entire body. But you know, it's good to outline where those things are even if you don't see them, just so everything that you do see actually makes sense. Next up is Shiny Sylveon, another classic shiny. Everyone loves this shiny. This thing is just a classic for a reason. It's very pretty, trans flag, it's just a swap of the original colors, and it's blue, so I love it. And the way I ended up coloring this honestly reminds me a lot of blue raspberry ice cream, or I guess Italian ice is what I'm thinking of. What do you call Italian ice in your area, by the way? I've heard people call them things like snowballs or like freeze ice or something. I don't know. It's just a food that has a lot of colloquial terms, and I'm curious what you call it in your region. Next up is Liepard, a Pokemon I haven't drawn in a very long time, but I think is very fun. I love its design. I love how many like curvy little shapes and lines it has. It's just a very fun Pokemon to work on, and I had a lot of fun with the color in it too. It's just, I don't know. It's just a nice, simple, very genius design. I love the face. I don't know. Liepard's just good. It's just a very nice, good, clean design, and really, what isn't there to love about a good, clean cat? Next up is Espathra, which is, honestly, this piece is one of my favorites for the entire month. In fact, it may or may not be the cover for the compilation of all these illustrations that I put up on my Ko-fi page. I don't remember which I selected. It might have just been the Latios and Latias piece, but believe me, this thing was a contender. I had a lot of fun with the scene, I had a lot of fun with the pose, I felt very confident in this one. It felt like a very good upgrade from an Espathra piece I did last year. And goddamn, this is a really nice shiny. It's always fun to draw. This is just such a nice Pokemon. It's so sleek, elegant, it's got so many different shapes, but they go together so well. And it's honestly just a lot of fun to draw this thing. It's got so many, you know, different chunks that all go together really well. I had a lot of fun drawing it in the sunset-esque, backlit situation. It was just so cool. Just such a cool Pokemon. I really love Espathra. Next up is Gumshoos and Yungoos, some, again, pretty underrated Pokemon, I would say. And they also have really splendid shinies. I feel like I don't see people talk about them a lot, despite them being very good. I also don't see people talk about how cute and small Gumshoos is. Like, it's a very little Pokemon. Like, when I saw it in the anime, watching Sun and Moon for the first time, I was like, oh my god, he's like a little guy. He's like a little itty-bitty creature. And I just think that's really cute. I think they make for such a fun pair. I decided to draw a very smiley Yungoos with a very serious Gumshoos because, you know, I thought that would be a fun character dynamic, and I think they're very cute together. Next up is Meowstick, or specifically male Meowstick, who is my personal favorite of the two. Honestly, it's just because he's got a lot of stripes and he's blue, which, I mean, that's two things that'll instantly win my heart in a character design, is stripes and the color blue. And honestly, I just had a lot of fun with it. Just like with Liepard, it's just a nice, clean, good cat design with lots of wonderful curves. It's just a very lovely design. The colors are so, like, synergistic. I don't know, it's just really good. Maybe I'll use one on my team in Legends ZA. Who's to say? We'll find out, I guess, when the game comes out. But yeah, I really like this little dude. He's very cute. Next up is Shiny Smeargle, who I guess we're gonna follow a cat with a dog. At least I think Smeargle's supposed to be a dog. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a beagle. Although honestly, it just kind of looks like its own thing. I had a lot of fun drawing its little ooh-woo shaped mouth and its tongue sticking out. I tried to give it something of an active pose, like it's actively like splattering paint everywhere. And honestly, I just tried to lean into the warm colors since the previous three pieces had a lot of cool tones, so to liven things up and give a little diversity to the whole collection, I decided to go with one that's a little more yellow, orange, red, that sort of feel. And I had a lot of fun with it. This one's simple, but it's really fun. And speaking of colors, I went with Shiny Sneasel next, and oh boy, Shiny Sneasel has to have one of the most vibrant color palettes of any shiny Pokemon. This thing is a real eye burner in the best way possible. I just totally love it. I ended up giving the background the same color treatment. It's just, this thing, the way I drew it, the way I did this illustration, kind of gives me like holographic sticker sheet vibes. I don't know why, I guess it's all the fun textures I did in the background and the vibrant color palette, but yeah, Sneasel's a great shiny, everyone loves this thing. It's just a lot of fun to look at and a lot of fun to work with when it comes to coloring. Next up is Mightyena, a much more muted Pokemon after Shiny Sneasel. This one was a lot of fun too. I love Mightyena. I think it's very cute. I'm so glad that Mightyena was like a feature Pokemon in the Teal Mask. I loved seeing it on Carmine's team. I think it really suits her very well since it's like intimidating but ultimately just like a friendly dog. Even though technically it's supposed to be a hyena. I just think they're nice. Speaking of hyenas, my favorite isn't even the spotted hyena that's more famous or popular in pop culture. My favorites are actually the striped hyenas, which I just think they're super cute. Let me know if you have a favorite hyena. I don't know how many other people have hyena opinions, but I guess I do. Next up is Shiny Spupa, who is so cute. I love Spupa. Honestly, I think I probably prefer the regular coloration, but still, I drew the regular coloration, I want to say last year, but if I didn't, then whatever. I haven't drawn the shiny in a very, very long time, so I thought it was well due. And yeah, Spupa's just really cute. I love this little guy. I'm excited to see him again in Legend ZA, you know, and it's just a really cute Pokemon. I know Vivillon gets all the attention for its admittedly really good gimmick of having all those different colored wings, but I mean, look how cute Spupa is. This thing is adorable. I need to get the sitting cutie for this guy one day, I swear. Next up, we have Shiny Swellow. Swellow is awesome. I love this creature. It's so good. I love Swellow. I had one in my original Emerald team. His name was Icarus. Not shiny, just a regular old Swellow. But Shiny Swellow is a lot of fun to look at. This thing, I don't know, it reminds me of like the color palette people would use for like brands in the 90s or the early 2000s or something. Like, I don't know, something about it is like Mountain Dew or Taco Bell adjacent to me, or maybe some other soda. Honestly, it gives the vibes of a soda that went defunct in 2004. I don't know why I'm saying that. That's such an odd thing to say about a color palette, but let me know if you agree. Because I think, I feel like there's a vision, and I need to know if other people see the vision, you know? Next up is Frostlass, and because this one was day 24, and therefore Christmas Eve, I wanted to do something very wintry, so I went with a shiny Frostlass. Yes, this thing is shiny. Yeah, you can hardly tell, but I do think shiny Frostlass looks good. It's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I think like subtle shinies look really great. And shiny Frostlass with the pink bow, honestly, it's a subtle but very, very nice change. I think the pink adds a bit more cool tone that goes better with the overall palette compared to the red, and I just think it looks nice. So I had a lot of fun drawing Frostlass in a nice blizzard here. I thought it was very fun and atmospheric to do with the lighting. And yeah, Frostlass is just a great little ice Pokemon, so of course I had to draw her. Speaking of ice Pokemon, we have to do December 25th, Christmas Day, another wintry Pokemon. And this one's another one of my favorites from the collection. This is Galarian Darmanitan. I've never actually used one because I don't have a copy of Pokemon Sword. I only have Shield, so I've never used a Galarian Darmanitan, but I think it's got such a lovely design. I think it's like so cute and fluffy looking. And honestly, the shading on this piece might be my favorite shading on any of the pieces in the entire collection here, so I just had a lot of fun. I feel like you can really see the volume on this thing, the way I did the shadows. I'm very happy with it. It's just such a cute, fun Pokemon, and seriously underrated for how fun this thing is. Like, it's a snowman, it's a Daruma, it's a Yeti. He's doing his best. He's very jolly. I don't know. I just think that's awesome. Next up, we are going to be doing the Musketeer Trio, or I guess their proper name would be the Swords of Justice, and I'll be drawing them shiny. First up, we have Terrakion. I love Terrakion. I drew its eye probably way too big in this illustration, but that's fine. I love its shiny. I love the teal and red together. I think it's a very unexpected color combo, but I think they go together really well. I mean, just look at regular form Deoxys, you know? Like, that thing, it's got a lot of nice teal and red together. And Terrakian's just a lot of fun. He's got a lot of fun curvy shapes that make him a nice solid thing to draw. It's very satisfying. Next up we have Cobalion, who is probably my personal favorite of the trio. Mine and my Pokemon Black copy saw a lot of use, a lot of battle, and actually I believe it is currently living in my Pokemon X copy because I had transferred it up sometime around 2014. And I love Cobalion. I intend to shiny hunt it one day because its shiny is quite nice with its cooler tones, and I just think it's such a fun, regal little dude. He's honestly quite a nice little Pokemon. And of course, we can't forget Virizion. Virizion's just so... I mean, look at this thing. It's got so many wonderful shapes. I feel like it's like the fan favorite of the three because it's kind of femme, kind of mask, ultimately just a very stylish and beautiful Pokemon, and it's got so many satisfying shapes to look at and to draw. And I mean, look at that shiny. That thing pink. Right now, my friend Urklo is in the middle of shiny hunting for this whole trio. So far, they've only found Cobalion, but they are planning on shiny hunting Virizion, and I told them as a joke they should name it Breakfast, like the pink bitch named Breakfast. If you know that meme, well, I'm glad you do. I feel like it's kind of a deep cut at this point. I feel like no one knows what I'm talking about when I mention it. But yeah, here's my beautiful pink bitch named Breakfast. Next up is Beebarrel, a very underrated Pokemon. I feel like Bidoof has a cult following, but Beebarrel has yet to get one. But Beebarrel is great, and its shiny is so fun and vivid. Like, I was basically drawing this thing in highlighter orange and having just a jolly old time drawing it in bright colors for this. Just a nice, simple, cozy illustration. He is just sitting there chilling out. And I just think it's a very cute little Pokemon, so I hope you guys enjoy it too. Second to last drawing is going to be Zoroark. This one I had a lot of fun with. I had to really figure out the pose, and I kind of ended up somewhere between like some official Zoroark art and kind of like the Sonic Adventure pose, you know, the one where he's like jumping and his arms under the leg. I feel like I found somewhere between the official Zoroark art and that pose, and honestly I'm pretty happy with it. I had a little bit of trickiness with the background. I was trying to figure out a way to put an accent shape that would help Zoroark stand out, but without like muddying the composition, and eventually I landed on this nice light blue sort of thing that I'm very happy with. I'm honestly very happy with this piece. It kind of popped off of my blue sky a little bit, and honestly I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, this piece is a lot of fun to work on, and I'm glad other people like it too. And of course, our final illustration, it is Jirachi and Celebi. I figured if I'm gonna open with a duo in a blue sky, I might as well close with a duo in a blue sky. And I feel like Jirachi is such like a good New Year's Pokemon. I don't know what it is about it. I guess it's just like the star motif, the making a wish motif, like, I don't know. There's just something so New Year's-like about Jirachi and its design and its like what it stands for. And then, of course, I also put Celebi since it is a time-related Pokemon, and this is, of course, a time-related event. And the fact that Celebi's been on my mind lately because, of course, of TCG Pocket coming out with the Mythical Island expansion, which features Celebi, of course. And anyone who's been battling on TCG Pocket Online lately has probably seen Celebi and Superior and see what havoc those two can wreak together. I had a lot of fun with this drawing too. I just thought it was a lot of fun doing these shadows. I did them honestly very green in color. I ended up going with. I thought it fit with the sky and those sort of bright yellows and greens in the color palette here. And while it was kind of strange while I was working on it, I think in the finished product it ended up being pretty cohesive. So overall, I'm actually very happy with the entire set of designs we have here. And with that, that is all I've got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching this video. It's been a long time coming, and I'm very happy to finally have it out. If you would like to support me, I recommend checking out my Ko-fi page. It is the best way to support me. You can help me reach my financial goals, help me save up to move, help me pay my bills, etc., etc. Honestly, any support would help, so even if you just follow me on my Ko-fi or subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that too. I also have a Kickstarter project coming up with my Westie stickers and pins, so if you like Westies or other dogs, if you like cute stickers, if you like cute pins, and you want to help me reach my goals, well, the Kickstarter launches on January 10th, so mark your calendars, sign up to follow the project so you don't miss the launch, and I hope to see you then, because I'm pretty excited about it. Did you have a favorite illustration you saw from this collection? Again, I think my favorites are probably Latios and Latias, Galarian Darmanitan, and the Espathra, but I mean, I wouldn't be posting them if I wasn't happy with all of them, you know? If you want the full collection, by the way, it's available for free for my Ko-fi members, so if you subscribe to my Ko-fi page, you can actually get this entire collection in high res for free. I think that is all I've got for you all today, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful new year, and I will see you again next week. And in the meantime, why don't you go out there and make some art?